sex workers of Reddit, who was the grossest customer you've had? My wife's best friend is a very successful cam girl. She was pregnant and some dude was paying her thousands to watch her take her pregnancy supplements. She made an absolute fortune when she was pregnant. He would make baby sounds to her while she did it. He would check in on her and make sure that she was hydrated and well fed. He started gifting organic foods over Amazon. I personally saw her play Jenga with her clothes on and dudes were bidding for which piece to move. I couldn't believe my eyes. I still don't. Someone paid her thousands to have dinner one night. She hired security and he paid for the security to make sure he didn't touch her. It became a steady gig. Free food and thousands of dollars. She started doing the GFE thing for a while too. If someone, man or woman, insists that a condom isn't important, a condom suddenly becomes 1000x more important. I prefer not wearing one, but if I don't know her really well, I will rather have some plastic on my dick than STD. Back in high school, a girl started talking to me out of the blue and said she wanted to have sex. Of course I was a bit skeptical, but I was a teenage dude and she was attractive, so whatever. Then she mentioned she doesn't like condoms and doesn't use them. Instant deal breaker. When I refused to do anything without one, all communication stopped and she tried to spread the rumor that I was gay. OMG preach. I use condoms for everything and guys will hound you to try to do otherwise. Stay strong. I also use condoms for everything. Need to roast a chicken. Condoms. Climbing Mount Everest. Condoms. They're so versatile it's amazing. My weird ass ex used to jack it with a condom on. Said it made for easier cleanup. Was also so high once that he went to class, but forgot to take off the condom. Fell off while he was walking through the classroom to his desk apparently. Yeah, that's enough internet for me today. If anything it isn't enough. I want to imagine some big dick exposed vaudevillian slipped on the juiced up condom, as if it was a banana peel, and landed his knob rod straight into a random mouth during the huge burst of crowd laughter. Phone worker here. I had a guy wanted me to put bodily excretions, rala play on him. I was so stumped. So I said, if you've been a bad boy I'll piss on your face. If you've been a good boy I'll shit in your mouth. Cue the minute-long groaning, grunting, and screaming the guy did with what I could only assume was the filthiest, never-ending tsunami of spunk, followed with a thank you mistress. I logged off for the day and did other things. I have no problem with kinks or fetishes, but he acted like he won the lottery. My childhood friend's father, but thank fucking god he didn't recognize me. Not a sex worker, but I went to a strip club once when I was 28. One of my best friends growing had a sister 8 years younger than us. She walks on stage and we make eye contact. I'm just like, yeah I'm gonna go play video poker. Objectively she grew up to be pretty hot, but too weird. Mary_Dankmas my buddy's cousin walked out on the stage once at the club, or so he claims. I'm not a strip club type of guy, but he is, so he goes pretty frequently. He said he tried a new club that he had never been to and the first dancer out was his cousin. They apparently made eye contact, and he left, since she still had to dance. He told me he didn't go back to any clubs for a while like that. Sardines give power. Not sure about most states, but Oregon had video poker at their clubs. Once I found out what her stage name was I just went and gambled whenever they called her. We got coffee after she got off work and I promised not to tell her brother. She basically said it was a lot easier to dance twice a week during college than try and work full time and go to school. She worked like an hour outside of the college town, so she figured no one would recognize her. I'm not a sex worker, but I did run a bar opposite one of Edinburgh's infamous saunas, sort of legal brothel the police turned a blind eye to. Anyway, the girls used to come into my bar once their shift was over for a well-earned drink, and so I got to know some of them pretty well. Inevitably conversation would turn to their clients' kinks. Two spring to mind. The high court judge who came in to be spanked and be told he needed to be punished. Not that exciting, but the one I can never forget was the peanut butter man. He would come in the day before with a massive bag of peanuts for his favorite girl and book an appointment the next day where the girl would shit on him and he would smear it all over himself saying I'm the peanut butter man over and over. I could never get that image out of my mind. I had a guy that just wanted me to spit full globs of phlegm in his mouth while laid on his back with his mouth wide open. I'm rarely grossed out, but I just can't deal with copious amounts of spit or phlegm. It took so much effort not to gag/throw up just from seeing it slide past his tonsils. On the other end of the spectrum, I had a guy who liked to just lay on the sofa while I sat on him and watched TV. Human furniture fetish is definitely my favorite type of booking. I work at a sex store. We have a guy whose kink is cleaning. So he went to the arcades, glory holes and cinema, and pulled all the used condoms out of the garbage can, and ate the cum in them. We also have a dude that likes to lick dork knobs and another one who smells the used paper towels. The one who left skid marks on my sheets because he couldn't wash his ass properly. The one who basically shit himself and expected sex to continue. The one who asked if he could come over with 3 of his friends after midnight on a weeknight, so was absolutely high on something and only offered me $50 a piece to run a train, and he honestly thought it was a fair offer after looking at my hourly of *AU $600. The numerous men who didn't understand how to wash under their foreskins. The numerous men with insulting offers for bareback sex and absolutely no history of being checked for STIs because I'm married so I'm clean. Like that wedding ring has some spell of repel chlamydia on it. It's mostly the hygiene factor honestly. If you have a weird fetish that most people would consider gross, but you're respectful about bringing it up, and you adhere to as many hygiene precautions as possible, and you're prepared to pay well for it, sex workers won't care. So, former Cam Gerald here. I would have assumed this guy was trolling, but he just seemed so earnest and had already tipped me like $600 that night. So, I have a cat, and he wanted me to go get a piece of cat shit from her litter box, fuck it up my ass, and then poop it back out for him. He said he had $3,500 to spend to make it happen. Obviously, I didn't do it and decided that was enough camming for me that evening and bid him goodnight. Still, I think about that guy a lot. That fucking guy. I wonder if he ever got anybody to do it. Way back in the day, when I was a stripper, I was giving a dance. The room was dark, and I was giving a lap dance to a usual customer. The customers were allowed to touch, as long as it wasn't any no-no zone. So I was sitting on his lap, no grinding, his hands to his side, and I randomly felt warm goo hit my back. I have no idea how I didn't notice anything sticking out, or how he managed to get off with no physical touch, but I was mortified. I got up, demanded my pay, and quickly ran to the bathroom. Had to have the bouncer escort him out. Yes, not a sex work, but a sexy worker. So I was a male stripper predominantly for bachelorette parties, but about 3 times a month I'd work the actual club to make ends meet. I was 18 and finishing up high school. One night I'm there, and the manager says there's a guy willing to pay $2K for 2 hours with me. It's a straight club, but half the dancers are gay, and eat that stuff up, plus with a no touching rule. It's whatever. His only stipulation was that we not turn the lights on. He didn't want to be seen. This was the early 2000s and closet cases were more reserved then. That said, I go in to dance. I dance for about 20 minutes and he says something that makes my skin crawl. Tell me you're only 15. I was disgusted, but this was money I needed. I'm not proud, but I said it, though I couldn't get over the familiarity in his voice. He continued on with stuff like that, having me say I was 15 over and over, having me say I was running late for English class, etc. He just wanted me to pretend I was a little younger than I was. Then he said it. Call me Coach Bellum. Coach Bellum was my 9th grade football coach and a fervent creep who wandered into the boys and girls showers during use a few too many times and got fired the year after I had him as a coach. I went to beeline for the door as soon as he said it. There's no way he didn't recognize me after all. He picked me because he knew 14 to 15-year-old me. When I clearly got up to move, he grabbed me around my waist and just licked my stomach and said, "I can give you all the money you need. Let me have this." I broke his nose, got out, and got the bouncers in there. To my knowledge, he was the first and only person we ever banned from returning there. Apparently we didn't need to, though, as he got jailed just a couple months later for molestation of a family member. He was grimy. I'm a dancer at a topless strip club. No removing bottoms allowed. I had this guy coming to see me about once a week. He'd give me 100 to 150 every time he came in, but each time try to push the boundaries further and further. Eventually he kept trying to whip his dick out, and I had to tell him no. Next time he came in, while I was turned around shaking my ass in his face, he pulled his dick out, condom already on, grabbed my hips, and tried to put me onto his dick. Seriously shitty. Another one of my friends was doing a half hour with a guy and she flipped over and farted in his face. She was mortified, but he tipped her 20 at the end, so he must have enjoyed it. Literally tonight at work, a girl got fired for prostitution. She was screaming at the manager the whole time, in the middle of the room, all the customers watching her. I only gave him a hand job. It's not like I fucked him. Every single girl that goes back there fucks. Not true. What's the big deal? I was just jacking him off. She's been a dancer for a while. She claimed another girl told her it was okay and that's why she did it. Bullshit. You know the rules, and you got caught. It happens. I've seen girls sucking and fucking literally 2 feet from me. I had a girl wave and smile at me as she was jacking a dude off. In full view of the camera lol. I had a customer who liked to wear a bonnet, suck on a pacifier, and wear a dipper under his pants. He liked to call me mommy and be spanked. And he paid well for it. I had a guy that loved the smell of sweaty ass. He would always tell me when he was coming in, always near the end of the night, so I wouldn't go to the dressing room and freshen up as much as I usually would, and he would literally give me 200 just to stand in front of him, ass cheeks apart, while he smelled it. I guess the first one was the grossest, the rest of them were just weird. I have so many stories from dancing lol. You're welcome haha, I have more. The foot licker guy. He would come in and spend a half hour just licking your feet as much as he could. Didn't care if they were dirty or smelly. I had a different guy pay me 50 a week for a few pairs of my unwashed socks. He would even buy me socks and give them to me along with the 50. There was a guy that liked to be degraded and told that his penis was small. He liked it when you called it a penis, not a cock or a dick or anything. You'd say, Kevin, you have a very small penis, and it is disappointing to me, and I swear he would almost nut right then lol. The amount of men who like their nipples played with is surprising, but this one guy I knew liked them pinched and twisted as hard as I possibly could. He would like them bitten hard too, almost to the point of bleeding. Then there are the super innocent ones. I knew this farmer kid once. It was his first time in a strip club. Got him for the half hour right off the bat. He was so nervous the whole time. I sat on his lap and he asked, "You're allowed to do that?" He wouldn't touch me or anything the whole time. And he was really embarrassed to say things like, "I like your tits." Just adorable really lol. He came back to see me like 3 more times lol.